This is lesson 1-4 from the Algebra Readiness textbook. To begin, you will need your notes and a pencil. Press pause to gather your supplies and work the review problem shown. Then continue. For our first review problem, we have an evaluating an expression problem. 5c minus 8 for c equals 9. That means that I need to replace the variable with the number 9 while maintaining the operations shown. So this would stay 5 times 9 minus 8. 5 times 9 is, then I'm going to solve it using the order of operations. So I'm going to do 5 times 9 first. So 45 minus 8, and I'm left with 37. The second review problem often will trick kids up. Before swimming, Andrea walks for 10 minutes and burns 40 calories. While swimming, she burns 8 calories per minute. Write a variable expression for how many calories Andrea burns while walking for 10 minutes and swimming for m minutes. I encourage students to reread every word problem at least twice. 3 times is better, so I'm going to read it for you again. Before swimming, Andrea walks for 10 minutes and burns 40 calories. While swimming, she burns 8 calories per minute. Write a variable expression for how many calories Andrea burns while walking for 10 minutes and swimming for m minutes. So my goal here is not about how many minutes she walks. My goal is how many calories. I know that when she walks for 10 minutes, that's equal to 40 calories. So I'm going to erase the 10 minutes so that I don't accidentally put that into my problem about calories when it's a minutes label. Then she swims for m minutes. Well, when she swims, she burns 8 calories per minute. I can represent 8 calories per minute as 8m. So the total calories burned would be 8m for swimming plus 40 for walking. This is my variable expression. The second part says, how many calories will she burn if she walks for 10 minutes and swims for 50 minutes? Well, this is that 40 calories right here. That's referred to right there. And she's swimming for 50 minutes. Well, that's my m value. I'm simply going to replace the m in my expression for 50. 8 times 50 is 400, plus the 40 calories that she burned walking, and I get 440 total calories. Make sure that you label all word problems. All right, the learning target for today is to solve problems that involve an absolute value symbol. If you cannot meet this lesson target at the end of the video, please seek extra help. In your notes, our first vocabulary word is opposites. Opposites are numbers that are the same distance from 0 on the number line, but in opposite directions. An example of that is -4 and 4. Please put this number line example in your notes. Do you see that -4, located here, and 4, located here, are the same distance away from 0? They are both 4 units away, but they are at opposite directions. Likewise, 5 and -5 are opposites. -12 and 12 are opposites. Pause the video if you need more time to write down the definition. So here's one way you might be asked to meet that standard. 4 points are graphed on a line. So I'm looking at a number line. I see point J is at -4, point K is at -2, L is at 0, and M is at 2. Which point is located at the opposite of -2? Well, I know that the opposite is the same distance away from 0. So -2 is 2 units from 0. In the opposite direction, I see that 2 is also 2 units from 0. So point M. The next vocabulary word that we need to get familiar with is integer. An integer is a whole number and its opposite. So a list of all of the whole numbers and their opposites are 1, 2, 3, and then -1, -2, -3, and so on. So all of the whole numbers and their opposites. This is a little deceiving because 0 is also an integer. So let's sneak that in there. So 1, 2, 3, 0, -1, -2, -3. Because 0 is neither positive nor negative, it is technically it doesn't have an opposite, or it is its own. Pause the video if you need more time to write down that vocabulary term. All right, here in this table, I'm showing you that different liquids have freezing points at different temperatures. So in the left-hand column, you can see the different substances. Here we're comparing water, antifreeze with water, seawater, and gasoline. And on the right-hand column, you are seeing what their corresponding freezing temperature is. The temperatures, the freezing temperatures are all integers. Notice that water freezes at 32 degrees. If it's positive 32, you do not need to write plus 32. You can, but you don't have to. It is understood if a number does not have a plus sign in front of it that it still is positive. On the other hand, antifreeze in water freezes at -32 degrees Fahrenheit. You must have the negative sign in front of it if you're going to indicate a negative number. -32 degrees or 32 degrees below 0 is written like this. Seawater is at a positive 28 degrees, and so it is 28 like this. Gasoline freezes at -36 degrees, which is good for our vehicles, that our gas will still work in the winter. And so you would write 36 degrees below 0 as -36. That is the integer. All right, so let's give some of these a try. These are also in your notes. What integer can be used to describe the thermometer? Well, when I read the thermometer, I see here is 0. And I am going to count 1, 2, 3, 4. So I see that this is at 4 below 0. 4 below 0 is written as -4 degrees Celsius. It is not written as a fraction with -4 or a 4 written in the denominator. Let me write that one more time. It is not 4 below 0 like this. This is wrong. Don't do that. 4 below 0 is a -4 degrees. Okay? Seawater freezes at about 28 degrees Fahrenheit or 2 degrees Celsius below 0. What integer represents the Celsius temperature? Take a minute and write this one in your notes. All right, hopefully from the last slide, you know that 2 degrees below 0 would look like this. There will be a question very similar to that on your upcoming quiz, so make sure that that makes sense to you. Now here we've got 5 more examples. Give these 5 a try, pause the video, and come back as soon as you are finished. All right, so number 1, if you lose $7, that would be a -$7, and you would write it like this. Number 2, finding $9 would be a positive $9 to your bank account. Number 3, 8 steps forward would indicate a positive direction, so we would say +8 or just 8. Number 4, 3 yards gained in a football game would be notated by positive 3 yards or just 3 yards. Number 5, 5 floors down indicate a negative direction. So we would say negative 5 floors. You can graph positive and negative numbers on a number line. A number line helps you to compare numbers and arrange them in order. This is pretty important. It is important that you realize that 0 is your neutral number. That's in the center of your number line. 0 is neither positive nor negative. Numbers will increase in value from left to right. Your negative numbers are to the left of 0, and your positive numbers are to the right of 0. If you're going to compare numbers, we are going to use the following symbols. This symbol means less than. Some people look at it as a bent over L. Other people look at this less than sign as the teeny tiny or lesser side first, and when you go to the right, it gets wider, so they remember it to be less than. This symbol is less than or equal to, similar to a compound word like dog, house, being a combination of the word dog and house. This symbol is a combination of two symbols, less than and equal to. So this symbol is read less than or equal to. The next symbol that we use to compare numbers is greater than. Notice the greater part or the wider part of the symbol is first. And so that might be a mnemonic device that you use to remember that is the greater than sign. And the last one is another compound inequality. It is called greater than or equal to, where we merge together the greater than sign and half of an equal to sign. All right, so now make sure those are written down in your notes, and let's give this a try. We're going to practice graphing on a number line. Let's do this one together. Graph -1, 4, and -5 on the number line. Then compare the numbers, and anytime you hear the word compare, that means less than or equal to, greater than or equal to, or equal to. Compare the numbers and order them from least to greatest. So if I'm going to graph -1, I look at my number line and I put a dot right here at -1. To graph a 4, I look on the number line and I put a dot here at 4. And lastly, to graph -5, I put a dot on the number line at -5. To compare the numbers and put them in order from least to greatest, knowing that a number line increases from left to right, it's easy for me to see that -5 occurs first, -1 second, and 4 third. So in order, it is -5, -1, and 4. Now to compare them, I would say that -5 is less than -1, and -1 is less than 4. Make sure you write this in your notes. The next one, we skipped a couple. Here we go. Try this one on your own and compare. Pause the video and come back. So if I'm graphing this one, I put a dot at 0, a dot at 2, and a dot at -6. To compare and order these numbers, I read them from left to right on my number line. -6 happened first, then 0, then 2. Now I compare them. -6 is less than 0, and 0 is less than 2. Our next vocabulary word is absolute value. Absolute value is a type of grouping symbol like parentheses. Absolute value is a number's distance from 0 on the number line. You write the absolute value of 3 as the absolute value of 3, right here with these long bars around the number. Make sure when you write your bars that they extend bigger than the original number so it doesn't look, in this case, like 131. We want to make sure that those two bars look really tall. All right, let's try these examples in your notes. The absolute value of -7 is 7. The reason it's 7 is because on a number line, here is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The number 7, or -7, is right here. How far 7 is from 0, I can count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Because it is 7 units away is why the absolute value is 7. I bet some of you are already thinking, but wait, then doesn't the absolute value of 7 have the same amount? And you're right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So opposite numbers have the same absolute value. Let's solve the next one. This one has a negative sign right here out in front. The negative sign kind of hangs out in front, and then we solve this. It's a grouping symbol. So what is the absolute value of 10? Use a number line if it helps, and count how far is the number 10 away from 0. You should see that it is 10 units away. So the absolute value of 10 is -10. The next expression is 5 minus 7 in the absolute value sign plus 2. Because this is a grouping symbol, to evaluate this, I need to find out what 5 minus 7 is before I do anything else. 5 minus 7 is -2. The absolute value of -2 plus 2. Now I need to figure out the absolute value of -2. Use a number line if it helps. -2 is 2 units away from 0. 2 plus 2 equals 4. Let's try some more. Use the number line to find the absolute value of -3 and the absolute value of 3. Let's put a dot at -3 and put a dot at 3. Now remember, 0 is our goal when we're talking about absolute value. So how far away from 0 is -3? 1, 2, 3. 3 units. That's the absolute value. How far is 3 away from 0? This one is also 3 units. So opposites have the same absolute value. Make sure this is put in your notes. Pause the video if you need more time to write. All right, our quick check is to write the absolute value of -10 in words, and then find out what the absolute value of -10 is. So this is said, the absolute value of -10. Write that in your notes. To evaluate the absolute value of -10, here is 0. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is -10. So how far away is -10 from 0? When I count it out, I get 10 units. Absolute value will never, ever, ever be negative. Write that down. Absolute value is always a positive number. Because you're measuring distance, it cannot be negative. Distance is always positive. Even if you travel backwards, like you're walking backwards or driving your car in reverse, you have still traveled a distance, a measurable distance, and distance is always, always, always positive. So make sure you commit this to memory. Absolute value is always positive because it's a measurement of distance. All right, so we're going to start rolling through a bunch of examples. In fact, let's pause the video right now and try these 12 problems. Once you're done, come on back and we'll walk through them pretty quickly. The absolute value of 0 is 0 because 0 is 0 units from 0. Number 36, the absolute value of negative 1,000 is exactly 1,000 units away from 0. Number 37, this is a grouping symbol, so I need to solve the absolute value of negative 13 first. The absolute value of negative 13 is 13. And then this negative sign just comes down, so my answer is negative 13. The absolute value of negative 56, if you looked on a number line, negative 56 is exactly 56 units from 0. Number 39, the absolute value of negative 23. Again, this is a grouping symbol. Do that first. The absolute value of negative 23 is 23 units. Then this negative sign just comes out in front and your answer is negative 23. Number 40, again, it's a grouping symbol. So the absolute value of 12 is 12 units away from 0. This negative sign just comes out in front and my solution is negative 12. Next, we're going to compare using the greater than, less than, or equal to sign to complete each sentence. Negative 8 and 0. On the number line, negative 8 is to the left of 0. So 0 is greater. Number 42. 4 is positive, and all positive numbers are greater than any negative number. 43. Negative 9 is to the left of negative 2 on the number line, and so negative 2 is greater. Okay, here you have to solve the absolute values first. The absolute value of negative 1 is 1. The absolute value of 50 is 50. So 50 is greater, so I would put 1 is less than 50. The absolute value of negative 6 is 6. The absolute value of negative 12 is 12. So 6 is less than 12. All right, the last one, the absolute value of 10 is 10. The absolute value of negative 10 is 10. So this would result in an equal answer. All right, give the next 3 a try. Hit pause on your video and come on back once you're done. All right, now you've had time to give these a couple a try. The first thing that you're going to do to solve this is in the 14 minus the absolute value of 9 plus 4 is to solve what's in that grouping symbol first. 9 plus 4 is 13. So you end up with the absolute value of 13. What is how far is 13 from 0? It's 13 units. So 14 minus 13 equals 1. Okay, this problem I don't think you had in your notes, so we're going to skip down here. Skip down to this one. 9 minus the absolute value of 11 minus 7. The absolute value of 11 minus 7 is 4. The absolute value of 4 is 4. So I end up with 9 minus 4, which gives me 5. Okay, the next problem. Now we should be getting to the point where we're getting independently good at doing these problems. So give this one a try. Which list shows the values in order from least to greatest? So what I would do is go through with each number, write what each one means, and see which one of those 4 options has their numbers in order. Pause the video and come on back when you're done. All right, so here's what I got for each of these numbers, and of these, the only one that I see that's in order from least to greatest is letter B. Go ahead and pause the video if you got that wrong and make sure your values match mine. All right, again, give these two a try. This should be a pause the video situation. We have a quiz coming up through everything we've learned through lesson 1-4. And so these are the kind of questions you need to be ready to answer or solve independently. When you're done, come on back. All right, so when I did these two problems, I got 2 for this one and I got 15 for the other one. Feel free to pause the video, compare your work to mine, and seek out any extra help that you might need. Okay, tonight's homework is worksheet 1-4. It's all about absolute value and ordering and comparing integers. So give that a try and we'll see you tomorrow.